My name's Brian Edwards. I'm standing as independent candidate for Wrexham at this year's general election. This is my first ever venture into the world of politics. I've been saying for a long time to my wife, I should be going in for this, and she said, well, do it then. So I've given it a go this time. I'm standing basically on the need, in my opinion, to heavily cut back on international aid and put the money into NHS and education, basically. My background, I'm a former school teacher and then a journalist with the Wrexham Mail and the Wrexham Leader, then freelance. I'm now officially retired, although I do the odd job here and there. Outside of politics, well, outside of in my other life, my hobbies, my main one is quizzing. I love quizzing. I play locally, set quizzes. I've been on TV quizzes 10 times over a 34-year period, and I still love that. So that's me, basically. Definitely the regeneration of the town centre. It's virtually like a third world country. The building on Pennerbryn collapsed recently, and miraculously, quelle surprise, the council found the money immediately to replace that. Regeneration would obviously, sensible reduction of business rates as well, would hopefully get the empty shops into full shops, bringing visitors in, creating jobs for the area. So it's not rocket science, really. Reduction of business rate, more shops filled, more visitors shopping in the area. That is my main topic locally. We must try and attract outside businesses in here, and I think the MP should liaise a lot with the local council, try and get them to see the point of view of reducing business rates. Every business to me that I speak to saying the rates are too high, so reduce them by half or whatever, fill the shops, and everybody's happy really, more jobs, more income for the town. As I've said, this is my very first venture into the arena. I hope I'm doing things correctly. I can't print out as many manifesto leaflets as I would like because of money restrictions. I've tried to sell myself in the town centre, done a lot of leaflet dropping, and as I say, that all I can do is my best, really. I think Mr. Lucas's majority, if he does win, will be reduced, but I don't know. I haven't given that a lot of thought, to be honest, and I can't really answer that. It's something that I haven't really delved into. So I can always say, I can't really answer that sensibly, I'm sorry. There's so many things. Yeah. The bedroom tax is absolutely detested by me, and I know lots of other people. That is probably one of the worst things they've done. There are so many other things that are not springing to mind, but so many cuts in various things. But that is my main bugbear. That's the bedroom tax has been introduced, and I think it's very unfair. I don't know if this would be classed as a law, but I want to see the international aid budget not only slashed, but stopped completely, except for emergencies such as famine and flood. The £12.2 billion plus could be used in the NHS, more nursing staff, more GPs, and also channeled into education, more trained teachers, repair crumbling buildings, etc. So that is what I would like the law to be brought in. And it's ring-fenced the amount of money, and I really think so much is wasted and mismanaged abroad. I think that should be used in our country. Well, if you excuse the pun, pros and cons about the prison. Hopefully it will provide jobs for lots of local people, although I believe that people will be shipped in from other areas. It will bring the visitors, obviously, into the town to spend money, hopefully. Two good things. But there's a concern about the health bill which would have to be paid locally, and obviously escaping convicts. I think people are worried about that, and also their visitors might create some mayhem in the town. I don't know, but so there's pros and cons for that. It's going to be a very large prison, 2,200, I believe. So I'm in favour just on that one, really, of the prison being here, which it is. It's well underway now, I know. It's very tricky to discuss the NHS because of the Barnett formula. Because Wales is devolved now, people think the money is all coming from there, but it's still basically from Westminster. Now, I strongly believe much more money should be pumped into the NHS. I mean, it's bursting at the seams. But a wonderful organisation is just failing, basically. So much more money should be pumped into the NHS. We need more nurses, more GPs, more surgeries. And that is my view on the NHS. Far more money coming in. It's the nurses are so overworked that we need far more. I personally think whether people like it or not, fracking must come in, whether it's 6 months' time, a year, 5 years, 10 years. Obviously, the problems with the environment must be considered, but I personally can't see any other way to create more energy than go into the fracking. Whenever it is, I think it will have to come into this country. There's I think, a NIMBY attitude in the Wrexham area with boroughs. People don't want it here. If it's somewhere else, it's fine. But I think there's a lot of that. But I think eventually we will have to frack. I would like to say charisma. In fact, I will say charisma. I'm very well known around town. I've raised lots of money for charity by singing. I've been on television so many times. I'm a well-known character in the town, and I think that does attract people, hopefully, to me on a positive basis. Yeah, well, yes, there's a good range of ages. I'm quite old now. There are two or three very young ones, late 20s, early 30s, a couple in the 40s and 50s. So I think that age spread is very, very acceptable. Obviously, lots of different policies. Some people favour very strongly certain items, and other parties oppose that very, very strongly. There are 7 candidates. There were 8, but one more independent has very quickly in and quickly out. So, yeah, 7 different parties, I think, gives people a lot of choice. I would say whatever is in my manifesto is the absolute truth. Yeah, whatever is in there, I would certainly try to do my utmost to achieve it. I'm very proud of being from Wrexham, and I would love to represent the town as an MP. Certainly everything that's on my manifesto I would hope was achievable. And I've told no lies on that at all. On a local level, my first point would obviously be a regeneration of the town. Yeah, more money needs to be put into it. It needs tidying up considerably. It has been described as like the centre of Beirut, and many areas are like that. Pen y Bryn is one example. The building collapsed, and money has now been found to replace that. The whole town needs tidying up. Business rates need to be reduced so we can fill shops, and that will attract more visitors, I would hope. I'm also very keen on safety in the town centre, i.e. in Lord Street, the pedestrianised area. I would call them thoughtless, aggressive cyclists and skateboards. Use that very much. They whiz at great speeds down there. I think some elderly or infirm person might end up very badly injured or fatally injured. I would like to see signage placed at either end of Lord Street banning cycling and skateboarding. Food banks as well. I think they're an anomaly in a developed country. We're not a third world country. Hard-working families with children, they probably feel humiliated to have to go to food banks. And I really think in the 6th richest country in the world, there really shouldn't be a need. I would love to abolish the need for the food banks. On a national level, the bedroom tax, is almost universally hated, and I would certainly scrap that. International aid, 12.2 billion plus. No, a lot of that money is wasted and mismanaged in the countries it's going. India have told us they don't want our money, but we insist on sending it. The money, I would look for an immediate ban, as immediate as possible, and put the billions of pounds into NHS and education services. Mobile phone use as well is a bugbear with me. I do not like seeing smiling, smirking people with a mobile phone to their ear, going round corners with one hand on the wheel. There's not a realistic penalty. The penalty in my mind should be a big fine, i.e. £1,000, and a 6-month ban. I don't think anything else would put these people off. I hate the graphic violence in videos which young children are now able to watch at home. Gratuitous graphic violence. I would like to liaise with the producers of these video games, try and persuade them quite forcibly to tone down the violence considerably, even abolish it. I think it can easily warp the minds of youngsters growing up and turn them into possibly violent people. Immigration is a very hot potato, but I would like to talk really about illegal immigration. We just don't know how many people are coming in under boats, on boats, under cars, coaches, helicopters. That was it. I think I've had to say. Yeah. Oh, can I? Right. Okay. Sorry. Right. So we need to considerably increase border control checks, and even each individual in Britain should be vigilant. If they see anything they think might be out untoward, inform the authorities. But I don't think we can stop this illegal immigration. And finally, failed asylum seekers. I think the clue is in the words failed asylum seekers. They shouldn't be allowed to remain so long in Britain. If they failed, they should be deported quickly.